I accidentally saw my best friend sitting on my husband's lap. Bryan, your stupid wife didn't notice that I swapped our daughter with her, right? She dotes on our daughter every day, but where's my daughter and hers? Why don't you bring her with you? I've been torturing her for a month and it's getting boring. You won't feel bad, right? My husband said coldly. Of course not, he replied. I only married Flora for her family's money. The kid she had isn't worth anything. Once our daughter inherits her fortune, I'll just kick her out. I wiped away my tears and pretended not to know, dedicated myself to raise their daughter. It seemed like they thought I was particularly easy to deceive and never notice anything unusual. Lauren was getting bolder and bolder. She used to secretly meet Bryan while I was at the company. Now even when I was at home, she would find all sorts of excuses to come to the door. Although I knew in my heart that every time Lauren came to my house, it was to see her daughter and Bryan. But still I did not refuse. Whenever she came to my house, I warmly welcomed her. Bryan was very satisfied with this situation. Whenever he saw Lauren coming to our house, the corners of his mouth could not help but curl up. Sometimes he even took a glance and flirted with her in front of me, secretly sending off a flirtatious message. Even Briella was getting more and more intimate with her. Also, he bought a pair of home slippers for her so that she could come over at any time. This kind of life continued until Briella took the college entrance test. Seeing his daughter's ridiculously low college entrance test score, Bryan pretended to be angry. How did you get such a low score on the test? Briella did not care. Anyway, our family has money. Why do I have to work so hard to study? Mom can just buy me a degree. Bryan glanced at me vaguely. Seeing that I did not express my opinion, he continued. No matter how much your mommy loves you, she can't let you do this. It's not easy for her to manage the company alone. You have to fight for it. Otherwise, how can you help her share the burden in the future? How can you let her trust you to hand over the company to you? Briella also agreed. That's right. I'm mommy's only daughter. With so many companies under her name, how can she let me starve? Over the years, Briella had been spoiled by Lauren and Bryan, becoming arrogant and domineering, with no knowledge or skills. With her level of ability, she did not even have the qualification to intern at my company, but I did not say it directly. Instead I said seriously, how can being a general manager be enough? She is my only daughter, and she should take over everything from me. I have already planned everything. I will send Briella abroad for further studies first. When she returns from studying abroad, I will fully entrust the company to her. Hearing me say this, Lauren's eyes lit up instantly. Bryan and his daughter nodded with great joy, their faces full of smiles. Looking at the three of them laughing proudly, I also laughed. They laughed at me for being too foolish, while I laughed at them for being too naive. During the process of applying for study abroad, I took Briella to the company every day. I taught her to familiarize herself with the company's business without reservation. 3 years later, Briella returned from studying abroad. The moment she saw her daughter, Lauren could not control her emotions. She rushed forward and hugged her daughter tightly in her arms with tears in her eyes. After the two of them expressed their longing for each other, Briella walked straight towards me and said straight to the point, Mom, I'm back. When will you let me take care of your company? Looking at her impatient expression, I gave a faint smile. Let's go. I've already held a press conference. Right now, I will entrust everything to you in front of everyone. The press conference venue was overcrowded. All the media reporters and celebrity businessmen gathered here, just to see the change of ownership of the business giant Renner Group. With all eyes on me, I announced that my daughter would take over my position as president of Renner Group, and under the witness of lawyers and interview cameras, the equity transfer agreement was signed. I transferred all of my assets and company shares to my daughter's name. For a moment, applause was thunderous, and emotions were boiling among the crowd. Many people were lamenting the deep love between us mother and daughter. The look they gave my daughter was full of envy. However, at such a moment, my best friend arrived late, holding Bryan's hand. Amid the puzzled and surprised gazes of the crowd, she took out a paternity test report and said to me loudly, Flora, to tell you the truth, Bryan and I have been in love for a long time and had a daughter at the same time as you. The hospital gave us the wrong baby back then. Briella is actually the biological daughter of me and Bryan. You have been taking care of her for so many years. Now, it's time to give her back to me. Hearing this, there was an uproar at the scene. Isn't this Lauren Hansen, Ms. Renner's best friend? She actually got into a relationship with Ms. Renner's husband and gave birth to a daughter. The key is that Lauren's daughter died just after she was 1 month old. If the hospital did give them the wrong baby, wasn't the one with Lauren Ms. Renner's biological daughter? That's so despicable. Not only did she steal someone else's husband, she also killed her daughter. Isn't that the end of the world? Lori is such a jerk. Moreover, Ms. Renner just transferred all her share and assets to her daughter's name, then she recognized her daughter here. Is this what a human being does? Amidst the fierce condemnation from everyone, Bryan spoke confidently. In the first half of my life, I was bound by marriage. As a man, I tried hard to convince myself that I should be responsible for this marriage, but I am also a human being. In countless difficult nights, I kept asking myself, is this really the life I want? Flora comes from a good family. She treats me and my daughter very well, but what I truly love in my heart is Lauren. I just want to pursue my true love. Is that wrong? Marriage is for happiness, and so is divorce. Marriage should not be a shackle for me to pursue true love. I hope everyone blesses us. Bryan's every word was sad, and every sentence was firm and resounding. Seemingly an unhappy person in a marriage, breaking away from the secular world and pursuing true love. I did not bother with him, but looked straight at my daughter beside me and asked, what are you thinking? Briella carefully read the equity transfer agreement in her hand and then spoke calmly. Mom, this is the last time I'll call you this. Although you have raised me for more than 20 years, you are not my biological mother after all. Blood is thicker than water. I hope you won't stop our family of 3 from reuniting. Seeing this, Lauren said proudly, Flora, please save your face. Don't rely on other people's daughters just because your short-lived daughter died early. Bryan also took out a divorce agreement and a bank card, then threw them in my face. Let's get a divorce now while everyone is here. There are $5,700 in this card, which is your hard-earned money for taking care of our daughter and divorce compensation over the years. Hearing these words, everyone at the scene was furious. As expected, people of the same family stick together. What's up with this family of 3? That's right. Everyone knows that Ms. Renner has always held her daughter in the palm of her hand. It hurts. After so many years of pampering, she just transferred tens of millions of family assets to her, and she turns around and recognizes someone else as her mother. $700 for divorce compensation. Is this just giving money to beggars? How can her husband have the nerve to say that? I can't stand any outsiders anymore. Ms. Renner, don't pay attention to this family of animals. That's right. They're such a jerk. The people in the venue spoke up for me, and some even offered to help me sue and get my property back. Faced with everyone's reaction, Lauren and Bryan remained calm and composed. It seemed that no matter what happened, they were prepared to deal with. However, amidst everyone's righteous indignation, I could not help but smile. Okay. After saying that, I signed the divorce agreement under the astonished gaze of everyone. Seeing this, Lauren and Bryan were slightly stunned, as if they did not expect me to agree so readily. They picked up the divorce agreement and equity transfer documents, checked them carefully and only smiled with relief after confirming that they were correct. As they laughed and forgot themselves, I spoke again. Since you all gave me such a big surprise, then I also have a big gift for you too. Bryan looked confused and asked, big gift? What kind of big gift?